to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 192 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I am jacked for tonight's show. Oh, it's going to be so awesome. A little different. There's going to be interviews mixed in throughout the entire show tonight. You can count them 4 interviews. 5 if you count Brian Neudorff. 6 if you count Andrew Cancian, who had week high and will be calling in for the Lap Traffic Fantasy. Tonight's show is stacked. I am so excited. All right, before I get in all that, Friday night, man, got to recap the weekend. Once the work was done and we punched out on Friday, Zaylin and I, we got some stuff done in the bar, in the basement that he's building, the bar, I should say, in the new man cave, which is awesome. It is coming together nicely. Cannot wait for this project to be done. And then I am done with new projects at the new house. Like, done. And I think he's done working at my house too. Saturday, did some running around, had my godson's high school graduation party, met some friends for dinner. So DVR'd was the Xfinity race for the most part, and then was able to see about the second half of the truck race, which was cool. Sunday was interesting. Was working in the basement. Had the TV on, then noticed what every Michigander dreads, and that is seeing water in the basement. And first I thought it was because, like, it poured buckets of rain, but it was not because of that. Then I thought it was one of the hot water tanks. It was not one of the hot water tanks. Turns out it was the furnace was leaking water. Thought maybe it was the condensate line, all that kind of stuff. Got all that dried up. AC guy came out on Monday and goes, I really don't see anything wrong. It could have really just been a coincidence. So knock on wood, everything's golden right now. So, yeah, it was an interesting Sunday. So really only got to kind of see the last half of the race there. Turns out that was the important half to watch. You know, let's set the scene here a little bit. 40 minutes ago, it's announced the rest of the season there will be no practice or qualifying, and I absolutely applaud that decision because I think it's fantastic. I get a lot of that still has to do with the whole COVID thing and all that. However, I think that is a testament that NASCAR might really be considering reducing practice times next year, which I am in favor of, and I am not as big of a favor as no qualifying. Like, I don't see why, we couldn't start broadcast half hour, 45 minutes beforehand, or even if they aren't able to broadcast it, run the lap right beforehand and let him sort himself out on the grid on the practice lap, something like that. I wouldn't be opposed to getting qualifying back in there. But the no practice, I'm all about there. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see not only how that plays out for the rest of the year with teams making adjustments, but also next year as far as how NASCAR changes things there. All right. Let's see here. If you guys missed last week's show with Sherwin from the PTM podcast, make sure you go check that out. We had a blast, as they always do. They're back in studio tonight recording a new episode, so make sure you check that out as well. And if you missed it, I've been tweeting it out occasionally here. Make sure you go check out 92.9 The Ticket. I was on there Monday morning, which was awesome. Talked with Wayne and his crew over there. You can go stream the full segment on their website, 929theticket.com. And I'll be back on with them in a couple weeks, I think Monday, August 3rd, and then possibly the following Monday to recap Michigan as well, which I am very excited about. All right, the lineup for tonight. I hit it on it a minute ago. MIS preview show tonight. MIS is coming up in a couple weeks. Normally do a big show from the media center there. Since that won't be happening, thought now would be a great time to start hyping up MIS week that is fast approaching, and as does the countdown to 200. So tonight, a huge show. MIS track president Rick Brenner, Jim Wise from race sponsor FireKeepers Casino, Brian Rich from race sponsor Consumers Energy will all be on, along with a late add to the show, which I'm also very excited about. The last 3 weeks winner in the Xfinity Series, Austin Cindric, is going to be on the show as well. I'll mix in some Texas recap in amongst this full show tonight as well. Social media shout outs. Brian Neudorff will be On with the Weather, Lucky Dog Lap Down, and of course, Fantasy to close it out. And I'm also, I got to tell you, I'm going to preview this now instead of just at the end. I'm so excited for the next couple weeks because next week, we're going to be talking diecasts, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to set a teaser. We're talking diecast next week, so I'm pumped about that. And then the following 2 weeks, to keep up with tradition, since we're going back to MIS, the wonderful Jeff Striegel will be on pre and post MIS. So the next few weeks are already taken form, which is awesome. So I'm excited about that. All right, let's kick things off. Let's start off with Jim Wise from FireKeepers Casino. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his second appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He's the VP of FireKeepers Casino in Battle Creek, Michigan, which is the sponsor of the first of 2 races coming up at MIS in just a couple weeks, the FireKeepers 312. Welcome back to the show, Jim Wise. Jim, how are you, man?
Hey, Brandon, it's great to be back with you. I enjoyed round one, so hopefully I can bring it again this time.
I'm looking forward to it. You know, and I got to start off real quick with the FireKeepers 312. And when I saw they changed the race length and saw 312, and when I knew I was going to talk to you, that just reminded me of like the guy that takes his 250 chip from hitting a 3-2 blackjack and then going and throwing that on top of another bet just to mess with the dealers a little bit.
That's right. That's one of those crazy odds bets on craps that you wonder how they can calculate exactly what's a $162 wager on a 6 or something like that. So you're absolutely right. They have definitely tricked that up a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. And it makes sense with them, racing back-to-back days. The FireKeepers race on Saturday the 8th, and then coming back with Consumers Energy's race on the 9th. So it all makes sense. But you're absolutely right. It's a interesting numbers presentation.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Well, Jim, let's start off, the quarantine, all that good stuff. You, the family, everybody make it through healthy and all that good stuff?
We absolutely are. We're very blessed to be in a good situation, and the casino was closed down for about 10 weeks and reopened basically the 1st of June, and so we're running in kind of a limited capacity of gaming, but we have just recently opened our sports book, and that kind of ties in perfectly as we get ready for NASCAR race of our name. But our NASCAR wagering so far, including the recent All-Star race, has been very good, and so people can come in and wager on an individual driver to win either the FireKeepers or the Consumers Energy's race, or they can wager on which NASCAR driver they think will win the season-ending championship. So a lot of activity and a lot of new things at FireKeepers as we get ready for this year's race, even in a different environment.
That's awesome. I tell you what, the wife and I, a while back, actually, I think it was like the 3rd weekend of June, we made a trip out there for the night, and I tell you, my wife said it was like Disney World with how pleasant everybody was, from the housekeeping to the wait staff to the dealers. You could tell everyone was happy to be back, felt incredibly safe. You guys did an incredible job getting everything prepped and back open, and it was nice to get out of the house and to come hang out at FireKeepers for the night.
Well, it was interesting. We couldn't predict the future. Just as sitting here today, we have no idea what it's going to be like in a few weeks. But we did decide back in April to take kind of the most stringent approach possible. So, when we opened June 1st, we said no smoking in the building. We know that'll upset some people, but that's the way it's got to be. That you have to wear a mask at all times, and that was before, masks became kind of so across the board accepted as kind of a need thing that people have to do. We went with that right out of the chute, and we took a couple of other steps, obviously taking temperatures at the door and things like that. So some thought we had gone maybe too far. We didn't think so. We were trying to be consistent, and I think that's helped us throughout, help people feel more comfortable coming to the casino when they do see the standards that we've taken.
No, that's absolutely incredible. When you think, casinos and 7-Elevens, those are supposed to be 24/7 operations. How weird was it to have to shut down for that length of time?
You're absolutely right. I told people so many different times, people would say, well, do you open and close? And I say, no, we opened, 10 years ago. We basically opened in 2010 and we're never closing. And then, of course, I had to eat crow on that one when we had to close. And it was very surreal to go out onto the casino floor during the time that we were shut down. We always, though, had some of our slot staff moving games around, both new games that had come to the building but maybe hadn't gone out on the floor, so we put those on the floor. And then once we started to see that if there was going to be a chance to open, that it was going to be in a socially distanced environment, our slot team did a great job kind of moving games around so that we could have as many different games and as many popular titles active for guests when they did come in, with a half slot presentation basically for the public. So they were always around. There was always some amount of activity, but it was pretty limited and not an environment we certainly want to see again.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. There's a couple big changes at FireKeepers. You mentioned the sports book and all that, which is absolutely awesome. I'm so glad Michigan has finally gone that route. There's DraftKings and all that kind of stuff. I felt like Michigan and the casinos were missing out on an opportunity there, so that's exciting. Are you guys looking at doing any type of online app or anything like that, or is that in the near future or something like that?
That is in the near future statewide. So right now, the only regulations that are approved are for the on-premises sports books. And we take pretty much action on almost anything, if it's from international soccer matches to obviously the soon-to-be return of Major League Baseball and the NBA and NHL playoffs. This race to the Cup on the NASCAR side, so we'll have all the NASCAR events. So there's a wide range of things that people can come in and wager on. It looks like that Michigan will go mobile potentially late this year, whether that's November or December. We still need to wait for information, working with Michigan Gaming Control Board on that one. So mobile is coming. It is not approved and legal yet, but it is definitely supposed to be during the remainder of this calendar year. And as we get closer, we want to be ready day one to go with both mobile casino and mobile sports as soon as it is allowed.
That's awesome. Another big thing you guys have going on is a little hotel edition, right?
Absolutely. So we had 243 rooms, and it just wasn't enough, and it was so difficult for people to get a room. So we built a second hotel tower. It, too, the construction process was shut down for probably about 7 or 8 weeks. And then even when they returned, it was kind of in a staggered, segmented return. Not everybody showed up day one. So it was interesting from that standpoint. So I would say they're coming along. We've had a topping off ceremony, but just like building a house, the outside seems to go fast and the inside seems to go just painstakingly slow because there's so much to be done. We probably will open, if I had to guess, maybe in kind of a March, April of 2021 should be about the time that the new hotel tower opens, and then we go from basically 243 to 444, and we're excited about that.
That's incredible. Let's talk about the race sponsorship a little bit. I'm excited to see you guys back with MIS. When you're sponsoring something that's fan driven and all that, how does this whole new situation that we're dealing with play a role in all that?
Well, we love Michigan Speedway. We love Rick Brenner. I just think he does such an outstanding job, and he kind of presents a service presentation to NASCAR fans that very much mirrors what we're trying to do here at the casino. So, we really like the sponsorship, and we think they just do a great job. So we tried to come to an agreement that would work out for the best for Rick and his side and would also work out well for us. We've picked up some additional signage on the track, and I think that's a great thing for us. And, we want this to be successful for everybody. So we knew, obviously, for some period of time that one of two things was going to happen, that the race was either going to move out of the area or stay in the area without fans. So it didn't come as a great shock when Rick came back and said, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. This is what NASCAR is going to do. And we support that 100%. We've got to keep everybody safe in Michigan and try to keep the numbers down as they've been trending. So, we want to work on that too. So, we understood we're trying to be as supportive as we possibly can, and we want to be with Rick and the Michigan Speedway team in a FireKeepers race for many years to come. So, we tried to be a good Michigan partner as we try to be with all of our Michigan businesses, and I think this is the right thing to do. And they'll have a great race, and you know what? We can look forward to next year when we have a great race with a packed house.
Well, I'm excited to hear that because I was hopeful about that because I know fans love coming out and interacting in the Fan Plaza with the FireKeeper setup. I love coming out there and seeing you and Amber and all that, and you guys do a great job at the track with your track presence, which I think is key. You guys give back to the community. Not sure if the name might ring a bell to you or not, but I talked with Freddie the Pizza Man, who's just an incredible guy. He does a massive golf outing to support autism. You guys donated a FireKeepers gift card to that outing. I'm playing in that outing in a couple weeks. I am so looking forward to that, and I will definitely be filling out some raffle tickets for that.
Well, that's awesome. I hope you guys have great weather and an awesome day, and it's for a terrific cause. So, we try and do as many of those things to assist and support the community as we possibly can. So that is our pleasure to be able to be supportive of a great event like that. So you get out there and play and hit them straight, and we're just happy to be in some small way a part of that.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I'm excited to hopefully we can, last year we did a ticket giveaway that you guys donated some tickets that I gave away, which was awesome. And that's the thing that I miss out on is it's like that fan interaction with the sport. We're there on social media, we're there, but seeing that first race back in May when they went back racing at Darlington without fans, and it's getting more and more normal to see it week in and week out. But I can't wait for the fans to be able to get back to the sport, man.
I saw Cole Custer jump out of his car when he won the race 2 weeks ago, and he looked up at the crowd that he was expecting to hopefully look up in the stands and see, and he just looked like he jumped up to stick his hands up in the air and get some kind of reaction from them. And of course, there wasn't anybody there. So thankfully, his team had kind of sprinted out in mass to meet him on the track, because I think he kind of looked like a guy who had won something and was dying to share the news with somebody, and there just wasn't anybody to share it with.
Yep. No, I'm with you. Yes. No. The good thing last night, the All-Star race had 30,000 people in Bristol. Hopefully, that's a positive sign of things to come, and we can get some fans back to MIS next year for sure. Jim, tell everyone where they can keep up to date with FireKeepers on social media, website, and all that good stuff.
So FireKeepersCasino.com is our website. We're in probably about 2 weeks away from rolling out a brand new mobile app. So whether you have our current one or not, you should be downloading our new one very soon. And again, stop by to get a wager down on your favorite driver for any of the races from the FireKeepers race or any NASCAR race this season. So stop by and see us and check out all the excitement in our sports book, which is located inside of Dacey's Tap House. We've changed it to Dacey's Sportsbook and Tap House, which means all the great Tap House food is still all there. And meanwhile, you can put down some wagers, and we have got an array of giant screens that'll blow you away. Very Vegas-like from that standpoint. So all the viewing you need is in the Sportsbook Tap House, and come out and have a great meal and a good time.
Get your Vegas on, right?
Absolutely, positively. It's great speaking with you. This has been a lot of fun again.
Appreciate it. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, big thanks to Jim Wise from FireKeepers Casino in Battle Creek, Michigan, race sponsor of the Michigan International Speedway FireKeepers 312. Jim, great to talk with you. Look forward to talking with you soon, and I know the wife and I will be out to FireKeepers sooner rather than later.
Awesome, and we look forward to seeing you.
Take care, Jim. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, I'm so glad Jim got my joke at the start of that. That was great. Enjoy talking with Jim. All right, we got to keep things rolling. Let's talk a little trucks from Texas this weekend. Kyle Busch picks up his 59th truck win and win 212 total in NASCAR. Could be 213, but it's not. Get to that in a minute. A couple things really stuck out to me from the truck race this weekend, and I love that Christian Eckes was out there running with the boss man, trying to beat the boss for the win. Had he not been out there, probably would have been a W for Christian Eckes, which is great for that young guy. I'm sure it made Boss Man happy to see a 1-2 finish, our first 1-2 finish of the weekend. Second thing that stuck out to me was Matt Crafton, who after that horrible luck at Pocono and finished 40th, didn't even get through turn 1, lap 1, was able to battle back with a P3 finish, which is awesome. Another thing I really liked and noticed, Tyler Ankrum, outside of Daytona, has not finished worse than 16th and now has 3 top 10s in the last 4 races. Awesome for that Lap Traffic alum as well. And Austin Hill, after starting the season 7 for 7 with top 10s, has his first bad race of the season, and that impacted a ton of Lap Traffic fantasy players. So we'll recap that and see how that happened and impacted things a little later on in the show. Man, I'm stoked. We all love trucks, right? And we are going to get a double dose of trucks, a Friday and Saturday night race at Kansas. I am so looking forward to that. All right, let's see here. What I want to do is I am going to keep the interviews rolling. I'm going to drop in the Austin Cindric interview that I recorded earlier this afternoon, and then I'll comment a couple things on the Xfinity Series after that and keep things rolling. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He is the driver, the number 22 in the Xfinity Series with Team Penske, and is the winner of the last 3 Xfinity Series races. Welcome to the Lap Traffic podcast, Austin Cindric. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Brandon, how's it going?
Awesome. Thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. Man, you've had a hell of a couple week stretch here, man. How much fun has that been for you, just like out of the blue like that?
Yeah, winning's definitely fun. It's obviously what you show up for. It's what you prepare for, and it's what you try and do every week. And for us to be able to do that the last 2 weekends, the last 3 races, has been a lot of fun for me and my team. A lot of points. Obviously, this past week in Texas wasn't conventional, but I'll take the points and the cowboy hat and be able to move on to Kansas with some more momentum.
Absolutely. Well, listen, before we get into like the last couple weeks here, I got it. So I run a fantasy league for the show, and the listeners pick all 3 series, and I got to tell you, week in, week out, you are consistently one of the top picks in the Xfinity Series. So the listeners absolutely love you, man, and I know they've been ecstatic for you the last couple weeks.
That's awesome. Sounds like you got some smart listeners.
I do. Yes, that I do. So, Austin, I kind of want to go in chronological order here and start right before your current win streak. So let's go back to Indy for a minute. Tell everyone what you thought about on the Indy Roval. Was it as fun driving it as it was for us as fans watching it?
Yeah, if I separate myself from the competition side of things, I didn't expect it to be a pretty good race, just because there's two long straightaways leading up to some brake zones, and anywhere you can have that, especially in our cars with as long as the brake zones are. I mean, if you brake 5 feet deeper than somebody in a NASCAR type vehicle, you know, the brake zones are so long that 5 feet is going to equal 50 feet by the end of the brake zone. So there's a lot of opportunity for that, and it's a generally I wouldn't say it's a difficult layout. It's pretty flat, so there's no it's a pretty easy track to get up to speed on, I guess is what I'm getting at. Sure. So I figured the field would be pretty competitive throughout. Obviously, we're quick in practice, and we had to work our way through the field at the end of the race, which was unfortunate because I felt like if we were in a position to control the race, I think it would have been a great day to try and get our Ford Mustang victory lane. We obviously had an awesome battle there for the fans at the end between myself, Chase, and Ezio Allmendinger, and Gave it my best shot. I probably had a lap to make it work to try and get around AJ, and then by the time we got done battling, Chase was already back up to us. But I'm glad the race was so well received. Obviously, my team owner being taking over the stewardship of that racetrack. Sure. Obviously, I wanted it really bad for him and everybody else in the Penske organization, but I guess I'll have to try again next time.
Absolutely right. All right, so let's move on now. You go to Kentucky, where you enter with 4 playoff points, kind of in the middle of everything, and you leave with 15 playoff points, back-to-back wins. When everyone started talking about doubles and the extra doubles we were going to get this year, it was Kyle Busch is going to go win doubles, Kevin Harvick's going to go win doubles. It's not been anybody in the Cup Series, but it has been Austin Cindric. Talk about what that means from a historic perspective for you and what that weekend was like.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of things leading up to that weekend. I feel like there was, 4 or 5 races this season, really, 3 of them in the last couple months since we got started again, that we should have won the race. I mean, I feel like a lot of guys can easily say that after leading laps, but I mean, we've had some pretty dominant race cars, and it had been really grinding on me leading up to Indy that we hadn't won yet or hadn't been able to capitalize, whether if it was our fault or getting involved in something else like Pocono deal was, but. And then Indy on top of that, getting so close to being able to pull off a win there.
Sure.
Heading into Kentucky, I was very, very motivated to win. And obviously we were able to have another really fast Ford Mustang and get Snap-on Tools in victory lane in their 100th anniversary year. And it was obviously a great weekend with the doubleheader. There was a stat that the only one who had done it was Richard Petty back in the 70s. And anytime you can be in the club with the king is obviously a cool deal, but racking up those playoff points means a lot later down the road.
Absolutely. All right, now I'm sure you've talked about this at length with everyone over the last couple days, but give it to the Lap Traffic listeners. So let's talk about Texas. I mean, the car was fantastic. You were up front all day and all that. Talk about mentally when you climb out thinking, P2 top 5 kind of day, and then you find out, oh, by the way, you actually won. Can you get as mentally excited? How was that for you mentally? When you found out you won, and can you get behind that knowing that you didn't cross the checkered line first, but you get all the rewards of it?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, you want to win the race on the racetrack. That's the number one thing. But, finishing the race in second, obviously finishing second to Kyle Busch, and he's obviously extremely dominant in that series. And I honestly felt like we had a shot at beating him. I wouldn't say we were as good as what we were at Kentucky, but like I said, we were racing for the lead all day. I had a lot of fun battles with Allgaier, really throughout the race from stage 1 all the way through stage 3. And we had a tough day on pit road, lost the lead on pit road, and we were able to kind of rally back there and be able to be in position to finish second. I thought we honestly deserved it. We didn't execute as well as we probably should have. There were some things I could have cleaned up, especially on that green, white checkered restart. But that was kind of my mentality post race. I wasn't down in the dumps about it, and I had some things that we could go back and do some more homework on. So those are always good days where you finish well, you get some points, and you have something to build on. But then when I got done getting dressed, put my street clothes on, walked out of the hauler, and everyone and their brother was standing around the height sticks where the 54 was still there. And meanwhile, my car had already made its way to teardown. And I had guys from other teams already telling me congrats. And I try and signal all of that out. I know how tech goes, and obviously we gotta make sure our car gets through at the same time. But not being able to do the revolvers in victory lane and the hats, and obviously the excitement that goes around all that. But man, I'll take the cowboy hat and the points and bring it on. Those playoff points are so valuable, and to be able to get some in that manner, I'll take it. But like I said earlier, you definitely want to win it on track, and we'll just keep working towards that.
I absolutely love that, man. That's fantastic. You mentioned the playoff points, how valuable they are. A couple weeks ago, literally a couple weeks ago, if we were to reset, you would have been a 7 seed. 2 weeks later, 3 wins later, you're a 2 seed. Where are you and the team at mentally down the backstretch here of the regular season?
Obviously we feel good. We know we have speed in our cars, but we got to keep getting better. Everyone's making strides in their own ways, and I feel like we've been contending for wins all year. There's only been a few races that we haven't led at this year, and I think that's that's a stat to be proud of. And it hasn't been because of strategy. It's been because we've had some fast forward Mustangs. So it was kind of a matter of time in my mind to click off some wins, but we got to keep it going. We got to keep getting better. Obviously Chase and his team have been really strong this year, and they're obviously probably the main competition, but you see guys like Allgaier who have really good runs, and obviously his experience in the series, I don't expect him to slow down at any point. So I think we definitely still have some work to do, some things to improve on, and obviously the regular season championship plays a lot of payoff points. So that's on the forefront of my mind. If we can do that or maintain the second place in that, that gives you more playoff points heading down the road. So I think that's important, that we keep our head on that, and obviously making it through the playoffs to be in the championship four is the number one goal. Absolutely.
I mean, I know I'm looking forward to it. I love that now, we go from a standings that looked like it was the Chase Briscoe show. Now it's the Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, and, it's who wants to step up to the plate next and create that next level of competition for the two of you out there. I know everyone talks about last year, the big three with Custer, Riddick, and Bell, and, it looks like things are shaping up to be competitive and exciting going down the stretch here in the Xfinity Series. Yeah, no doubt. There's been a lot of competitive cars, and I'd be surprised, honestly, if there was a breakaway like there was last year. Obviously, those guys have been in the series for a while, and all in extremely good equipment. So I think the series as a whole, the top 10, I feel like is more competitive than what it was last year. Sure. Which has made it fun. It's difficult to be in the top 5, and you gotta hit your marks and be able to execute on a good day. So that's what you want out of your competition, and then that's what makes racing fun. Absolutely. All right, I'll wrap it up with this one. Austin, I have lost many a wager to Matt Tifft around November, and where I'm going with that is I know you're from Columbus. I'm sure you're a Buckeye, and I think I might just have to try to get you back on if we get college football in November, so you can give me some crap for being a Wolverine fan. Well, that's funny. My mom's the whole side of my mom's family, Ohio State diehards. I mean, my grandma is the season ticket holder, sit in the grandstands, cuss out her own team, bless her heart. But my mom on the other hand, being the black sheep, she went to Michigan, so I have some sympathy for that. So I'm not going to hold it against you. Excellent. Okay, good deal. I appreciate that. Austin, tell everyone where they can follow you and the team at, and sponsors and all that good stuff on social media. Yeah, obviously following my accounts anywhere you can find me at Austin Cindric. Try and keep things posted. Obviously at Team Penske, those guys will keep you updated on the races, and everyone at Moneyline. We got XBell in the car this weekend for Kansas. Fun to have them on board. New sponsor for our team this year, and Snapple and Menards, everybody that makes it possible for us. Awesome. Lap Traffic Nation, big thanks to Austin Cindric, driver, their number 22 with Team Penske in the Xfinity Series. Austin, good luck this weekend. Good luck the rest of the season, and look forward to talking to you soon, man. Cool. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation, how cool, Austin Cindric. I haven't had a reason to play the Michigan marching band in quite some time, so I had to take full advantage and drop that in there when Austin said his mom was a Maize and Blue fan. So absolutely awesome. Great talking with him. So exciting to see what the rest of the season is going to look like as far as Austin, Chase Briscoe, and all that competition and all that good stuff. Again, I just kind of want to highlight a couple things here. Austin Cindric, by virtue, picked up his third win in a row in a matter of 2 race weekends and 3 races. Goes from 0 wins to 4 with 0. Wow. Goes from 0 wins and 4 playoff points to 3 wins and 20 playoff points, closing the gap with Briscoe. So here's my thing. Do we have a big 3? Maybe a big 2. Briscoe, 5 wins, 28 playoff points. Cindric, 3 wins, 20 playoff points. Noah Gragson, 2 wins, 18 playoff points. Maybe a little premature to say big 3, but when you look at the finishes, I don't think it's that far off because any one of these guys could turn it up. The playoff points, obviously, with the wins with Briscoe and a couple stage wins and all that kind of stuff has kind of helped him out. But you got Briscoe through 16 races, 5 wins, 10 top 5s, 13 top 10s. Cindric through 16, 3 wins, 10 top 5s, 12 top 10s. And Gregson, 2 wins, 8 top 5s, 11 top 10s. I mean, these guys are neck and neck with their top 5 and top 10 finishes. So that's where I say maybe we got a big 3 in there, and we'll see what happens. So I am excited to see what these guys do Saturday along with the trucks. All right, let's keep things rolling. Let's talk a little Cup from this weekend. All right, so the race, it's Texas. I don't know what to tell you guys. Some interesting strategy at the end, an unexpected caution, a couple big ones. You know, I've seen worse races at Texas. I think we all have. So I'm not going to, you guys know me. I like to focus more on the positive than the negative. So here's what I love. I love that Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon finished 1-2. And that's because it's such a boost for RCR. You know, it's a shame over the years, RCR, RFR, RPM have disappeared from the map, if you will. Is this going to put RCR back on the map? Are they going to be out there week in, week out competing for wins? Probably not over the next few weeks, but that's not to say over the course of the rest of the year, hopefully into next year, we will start to see these teams that used to be so competitive being competitive once again. So that's the positive spin that I'm going to put on things, if you will. Another reason why I love the results so much is not that Dillon won, but what it did for the playoffs. We've got Cole Custer, who will make the playoffs, and based on his points, is probably going to knock somebody out. I don't know that Cole Custer is going to be able to make up that point difference and get into the top 16 with his win. Austin is currently inside of the top 16 at the moment, but he's only 3 points ahead of 16th place. So anything could happen there to where he could very easily fall out of the top 16. So there's a good chance that 2 guys might miss the playoffs on points. And who knows? You know, Tyler Reddick might get a win. Could Christopher Bell, Bubba, Eric Jones, Byron, Jimmy Johnson. You know, there's a good possibility a few more guys that are towards the bottom of that point standings could get a win. And if that's the case, you know, we might be looking at the 13th, 14th, 12th place guy missing the playoffs, which puts Matt DiBenedetto, Clint Boyer on the hot seat with just 8 races to go in the regular season. I think that's the key. There's only 8 races to go in the regular season. So we'll have to see what happens at Kansas. Thursday night Cup racing. Hell yes, give me more, please. All right, so a very condensed race discussion talk this week, guys, just because of the stack show that we have. So I apologize. There was no question for you guys to kind of work into the show tonight. That said, let's get Brian Rich from Consumers Energy on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his second appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He is the Vice President for Customer Experience with Consumers Energy, who will be hosting the Consumers Energy 312 in a couple weeks at MIS. Welcome back to the show, Brian Rich. Brian, how are you, man?
I'm awesome, Brandon. Thanks for having me back. I guess that means I passed the test last year.
You know, it's funny. Jim Wise said the same thing. So absolutely. I mean, I'm geeked for Michigan, man. I'm so excited that that's going to be coming up here in a couple weeks. We'll get to that. We got lots to talk about. First and foremost, I hope you, the family, and all that were able to maintain some healthiness over these last few months, and glad that you guys are back and partnering with MIS this year.
Yeah, we're excited to be back too. I mean, it's obviously been an unusual set of circumstances, but the MIS team, credit goes all to them. They've exercised agility, and this race is important to Michigan, and we're thrilled that it's happening.
That's awesome. Well, before we get into it, I've been asking everybody over the last now couple months, did you develop a new fun quarantined activity over these last few months? Did you binge watch anything fun? Like, what was your escape during all that?
You know, I always have like the highbrow answer to try to impress people externally, but the reality is I've been been all over Tiger King. That was clearly my favorite.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Absolutely consumed with that story and loved it. So I could try to impress you with some sort of documentary on foreign cinema, but
Nope.
How about you, Brandon? Same?
No, the same. Tiger King. The wife and I, we moved into a new house in January. So between Tiger King and just getting some extra things done that we didn't think we were going to get done for a while because we had the time. So we've been, doing some upgrades and stuff like that, which is awesome. And finally able to get out and get a couple rounds of golf in and all that good stuff. So, aside from not being able to go to the racetrack, I can't complain.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I know how much you're an advocate for NASCAR, but you are also a Michigander, and there's nothing like Michigan in the summer. So I'm glad we're able to get some normalcy.
Yes, 100%. So, Brian, talk a little bit about, your day-to-day and how that has been impacted from, the whole COVID situation, the pandemic. How has that shifted focus for you and your staff with Consumers Energy?
Certainly, and for a little background for some of your listeners, Consumers Energy is the largest electric and gas utility here in Michigan. So really a 135-year-old institution in the state of Michigan serving well over 4 million residents here in the Lower Peninsula. It's been a challenging last few months. As you can imagine, we are an essential service. So at a time where a lot of people were being directed to work from home, there's certain things that require to keep the lights on and keep the houses warm, require people to be out and about. So looking at all of our safety procedures, making sure that our work could be done safely, that our crews could be able to deliver the essential service, that we had the right PPE in place. That really consumed us over the first month, and that's been by and large the success story that we've been able to continue to keep the electricity and gas flowing. But it's been challenging.
That's awesome. Well, it's just a testament. There's the critical workers of the hospitals, the frontline workers, the EMTs, police, fire, all that. I hope people don't take for granted that we were able to continue to keep our lights on, homes heated, and now cooled with the service that you guys provide. That's awesome, and I never noticed an impact, so that's awesome. And I know a lot of Southeast Michigan was able to increase usage without any interruption, which is fantastic.
Thank you for that.
Brian, I know we talked last year about consumers, MIS, NASCAR, as far as renewable energy is concerned. What kind of strides have been made over the last year?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most exciting things about our connection with the sponsorship. I mean, if I just on it alone, I mean, it's a huge and important event for the state of Michigan. And the track is, while we serve the entire state of Michigan, the track is just minutes from our headquarters. So it's important for the community that this event continue, and we support MIS. But what's been so exciting is not just our connection to this huge community event, but also the fact that MIS has been NASCAR's greenest track. I mean, for a long time, they've worked with us on making sure that their track is powered by 100% renewables. That's been in place for quite a few number of years now. And Rick Brenner and the team continue to push the envelope on making sure that it's not just the fastest track in NASCAR, but it's also the greenest track in NASCAR. So all of the energy that operates the track is 100% renewable. And they were one of our first customers in the state of Michigan. We now have many more that have hopped on board to really put that line in the sand, and they've been committed to it ever since. It's been phenomenal.
That's incredible. Brian, talk a little bit about the importance of staying on as race sponsor through these crazy times in the sport in general.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I want to make sure I really reach out and recognize the Rick Brenner and his team at MIS. I mean, this is just for them to be able to logistically pull off this event, even though regrettably there's no fans, requires a tremendous amount of people. Beyond the racers, and the coordination to be able to make that happen. And in this uncertain year, there was no certainty that the track was going to get the race and it was going to happen in Michigan. So all credit goes to the MIS team to make sure that they were able to put their best proposal forward to keep the race. And then our job was to make sure that we were there as a supporter of theirs so that they could put on this event. This event means a lot to Michigan. And I know there won't be fans this year, but it still is an important part of the NASCAR year, and we want Michigan to be part of that. So we're thrilled that it's happening.
Well, I know I am. I know Lap Traffic Nation is as well. Brian, I had Jim Wise from FireKeepers on the show earlier tonight, and I just love the two Michigan local companies and that the services that they provide couldn't be any further apart on the spectrum. We've got a casino and a consumer's energy company, but what is awesome is that such different spectrums and services that are provided are both valued by NASCAR, the sport, and that you guys see the investment opportunity there to invest in the sport and to give back to the state and local communities.
It's been we've really benefited from the partnership, and I know FireKeepers does a great job as well. And Brandon, again, you being a Michigander, you know this. I mean, there is a spirit of we are all in this together that exists in this state.
Absolutely.
That when you have a premier sporting event that exists like the one at MIS and the Consumers Energy 400, we want to be part of it. We want to support. And I know FireKeeper shares that same values.
Absolutely. The fan experience, I know we talked about the fans aren't going to be there, but the fan experience both in the stands and Fan Plaza are big at MIS, as is they are at any track in the sport. With fans not being able to attend, how have you worked those changes into your sponsorship and what you're giving and what you are getting back from the sponsorship in the race?
It's definitely going to be a different experience than in years past. I think that beyond just the title sponsorship and obviously the TV exposure, which will look similar to in previous years, we really do put on a show with MIS at the track. And whether it's honoring members of the community, we typically have had some of the teachers of the year from Jackson County, which is the county that both the track and our headquarters are in, play prominent roles. There's all kinds of things that are happening in the Fan Plaza that Consumers Energy is doing around energy education and different other types of meetups. I mean, obviously those things can't happen in an exception year like this. But as I mentioned before, I mean, even while it's regrettable the fans won't be there, it would have been more disappointing to not see the event happen in Michigan.
Absolutely. Brian, Michigan is notorious for having a June and August race this year due to circumstances beyond anyone's control. MIS is now having a double, back-to-back cup races, FireKeeper sponsoring the Saturday race, Consumers Energy sponsoring the Sunday race. Has the fact that it's now a double back-to-back day, same weekend, has that allowed you guys to collaborate at all with FireKeepers? Is the double something that you're would be excited about to see in the future? How does that change anything, if anything?
Probably too soon to tell. I would tell you that MIS has been transparent with both us and I assume FireKeepers from the very beginning around the uncertainty. I mean, I think it became pretty clear early on that the June race was going to be affected in some way, shape, or form. August had a little bit more uncertainty. And all I can tell you is that MIS has shared with us what they knew when they knew it. And as you mentioned, it's two lifelong Michigan companies that have been supportive. So we were excited to make it into just one grand weekend and share the weekend with them. And listen, it's the realities that we live in. And the alternative was that either one of us couldn't participate or that the race wouldn't happen. And I think, we're just so excited that it's happening and we can, just make it a great weekend.
Absolutely. Brian, thank you so much for working with consumers and the powers that be there to continue the support of NASCAR MIS. Tell everyone where they can keep up with all of the happenings with Consumers Energy, social media, website, and all that good stuff.
Very easy. www.consumersenergy.com. And of course, you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are on all of those platforms as Consumers Energy, and follow us. We will definitely be active as the race weekend approaches.
Awesome. Lap Traffic Nation, big thanks to Brian Rich with Consumers Energy for calling into the show tonight. Brian, look forward to hopefully seeing you guys along with Roger Curtis back at the track next year, man.
Likewise, and thanks for everything you do, Brandon.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to talk with Brian Rich at Consumers Energy. We'll sponsor the Sunday race at MIS in just a couple weeks. All right, right now it's time for a little social media, and then we will get Rick Brenner on the line from MIS. But first, everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Like on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Instagram, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Lap Traffic PC, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, and of course, on Twitter, @Lap Traffic Traffic PC. Subscribe, download, leave some comments. I haven't got a review in a minute, so while you're listening, just pull up the review on iTunes there. Leave of course, 5-star review. I mean, tonight's a 5-star show, so leave a 5-star review. All right, giveaways. Less than 60 followers to go. You guys are amazing with all of the pushes and all that good stuff that you guys have been doing, retweeting, getting everything out there. Less than 60 to go to give away the Lap Traffic t-shirt, NASCAR hat, stickers, and koozies. And just about 440 followers away from giving away a full-size piece of sheet metal from Eric Almirola's car back with the RPM days. Got some new follower shout-outs. Andrew at Andy Miller 823, NASCAR and WWE fan. Got a picture with Kane there. That's freaking sweet. Big B at B_Putnam. I mean, this guy's got it all. His name's Brandon. His nickname's Big B. I love it. And Dan Gretzner at D. Gretzner from Jackson, Michigan with Consumers Energy. Hell yeah. Welcome to the show, guys. Hope you enjoy it. I have mailed out stickers and koozies like every other day for the last 2 weeks, which is awesome. If you want a Lap Traffic sticker and koozie, just go to the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Go to the contact page and give me your name and address, and I will send one out to you for free. All right. Let's keep these interviews. Man, I wish every week could be like this, but that would be a hell of a lot of work tracking down this many people for one show. All right, let's get MIS track president Rick Brenner on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 9th appearance on the Lap Traffic podcast. He is the track president of Michigan International Speedway, who will be hosting their first ever double in a couple weeks with the FireKeepers 312 and the Consumers Energy 312. Welcome back to the show, Rick Brenner. Sir, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Brandon. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you taking the time today.
It's a pleasure to always have you on, because when I talk to you, that means we're close to MIS, which is awesome. But before we get to that, man, how was the family? Everyone's safe and healthy through all the COVID stuff that's been going on lately?
Everybody's safe and healthy. I hope yours are too, and I hope anyone listening can say the same. And as we all reach and look forward to finding the new normal, it's a privilege to be hosting some great racing at MIS. Wish our fans could be there. Sadly, we do understand they can't. They understand why they can't, but at least we're able to put on what's going to be 4 great races with our Truck Series race, our ARCA race that's brought to you this year by our friends at Viscom. And then, of course, the FireKeepers Casino and Consumers Energy Cup races back-to-back days, Saturday and Sunday. So a lot of great racing action to tune into, and hope people will take the time to do so.
Well, I know I'm excited to tune in. It's crazy. I think I'm going to end like a 12 or 15-year run of coming out to the track. So I'm bummed about that, just like I know all the other great fans in the state of Michigan and around the state of Michigan are. But like you said, at least we get to have racing at MIS, which is awesome. But, so like it's been some crazy times. Normally we're talking about the incredible ticket packages, camping, and all the activities that you guys are doing. Since that's not happening, what's been your day-to-day and the day-to-day of everyone else at the track to get ready for a race without fans?
Well, I think we're trying to, and we're working on, and fans should stay tuned. We're working really hard with our partners throughout the industry and trying to come up with some things we can offer people virtually. So I would stay tuned for some things that you'll be able to tune into our social media channels or, the NASCAR website, our website as well. So we're working on some neat stuff. It's in the works. We haven't forgotten about you. We want to get you as close to the track as you can. And we're doing our best to put together some really cool stuff for everybody to enjoy.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. We've seen the double at Pocono with the Cup Series. We've seen Xfinity at Kentucky. The trucks are going to have a double at Kansas. MIS, while not originally planned to have a double, is going to get one. Is that something that you as a track president, promoter, and all that, is that something you'd like to see more of once things get back to as close to what our old normal was?
Well, look, let's it's really hard to judge anything without your fans there to tell you
Sure, right.
what they like, right? I think for, given the circumstance we're in right now, the ability to have cars on track, to broadcast from Michigan for folks to see a race on our track, I think is important, and really proud to be a part of it. As far as anything in the future, who knows what the future is going to bring, and we just look forward to continuing having great racing out at MIS.
Fair enough. Rick, Michigan has had some incredible race sponsors the last few years with FireKeepers and Consumers Energy. I love the fact that we've got locally based Michigan companies supporting MIS, NASCAR. As track president, what does that mean for you and MIS to have that type of local support?
Well, it means a lot. And it's important to point out that FireKeepers and Consumers, phenomenal partners in the region, not just for MIS, but for communities throughout the state with all the different things they do and give back. But also there's, Corgan Oil. They dropped off a race this year, but they're still a big New Hampshire company, and they're still a big partner of ours, just not on a race. And you've got your Cottage Inn pizzas. There's a lot of great businesses in Michigan that are doing a lot to support the communities of Michigan, but also our race, and we're proud to be a part of it. And it's just a pleasure and a privilege to have such great community-minded partners that see the value in what we bring to the state, and happy to continue those relationships for as long as we can.
That's awesome. Well, I talked to Jim Wise from FireKeepers and Brian Rich. We're having a big old MIS celebration party this week on the podcast, and they're bummed just like we all are that fans aren't there, but you could hear the excitement in their voice to still be a part of the unique experience that is the MIS double, and to be a part still of the sport this year through these crazy times.
Absolutely. Dude, just named two phenomenal people, and love working with them, love developing friendships and partnerships that last a long time, and really happy to continue to have such great partners that, and I got to stress, they're great partners for us, but they're great partners for Michigan. And they do so much for the state and for the communities around their businesses, and really proud to have people that think that way and to work together.
Well, that's all. I agree. I was talking with Jim a little bit ago. There is a golf outing that I'm going to be playing in a couple weeks that supports autism, that just does an amazing job putting sensory rooms in local Detroit schools. And I know FireKeepers donated to that. They had no idea we were going to bring that up, and like you said, they do a great job, as does Consumers, in giving back to the community, which is awesome to see. It kind of gives you goosebumps a little bit, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Rick, before I let you go, I just want to say thank you again, as always, the support that MIS gives to the show. Closing in on 200 episodes here in just a couple weeks. I know you were on during episode 100. The show crossed over 100,000 downloads this year already, and I have to thank MIS for your continued support. It means the world to me, and anything that I can do to help promote MIS, I'm here to help. So thank you guys so much.
I appreciate it so much, Brandon. Feel the same way about you. It's a privilege to come on. I as we were setting this up this year, I told the folks in PR that, I love doing this one. This is fun. It's a great time. You do a great job, and proud to be a part of it, and look forward to many, many more.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. Rick, tell everyone where they can keep up on MIS, social media, the website, and where they can stay tuned to hear some new news about MIS this week or this year.
Well, actually, you can find us through NASCAR.com. You can find us through MISpeedway.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. So check us out. We're out there, and look forward to staying in touch and send us your questions. Happy to engage.
Awesome. Lap Traffic Nation, big thanks to Rick Brenner, track president of MIS, for calling in the show. Everyone, make sure you tune into the FireKeepers 312, the Consumers Energy 312, along with the Truck and ARCA series in a couple weeks. Rick, great to talk with you. Great to catch up with you. Look forward to talking about amazing ticket packages for the fans next year, man.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And stay safe, be well, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, man. We'll see you later. Oh, Lab Traffic Nation, I just love talking with Rick Brenner. They do such an incredible job at MIS. They're so good to me. I couldn't ask for a better track to have as my home track. But right now, let's keep things going. Let's get Mr. Brian Neudorff on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell, keeping us up to date on all the weather happenings. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Brian Neudorff. Sir, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't been on in like ages.
You know, like it does seem like, and it's every other week, but it's
I know. What have we had, like 100 races since then?
It feels like that, right? Like we were talking before we hit record here, like there's only 8 races to go in the regular season. Like they have, if you wanted to watch racing, there has not been a shortage for you to watch.
Yeah, and now they're doing a Thursday night race.
Yes, they are. Which,
when
MLB
decides to come back.
That's what I was just going to say. You know, obviously this race was scheduled before that was announced, but I'm excited to see, did NASCAR retain some fans, or is everyone going to go jump ship back to baseball, whatever, and I'm not going to hold it against 1 week, but over time, did NASCAR get some new fans with coming back and all that, which I'm hoping they did. And now that a stick and ball sport, as they call them, are back, let's see what happens. Obviously, there's excitement and hype around baseball coming back and all that, which I totally get. But, in a month, let's see, once like the Tigers are, 2-15, let's see who's still watching them. So I'm not going to lie. I am excited to see the Tigers play for a minute. I'll watch an inning and see if Miguel Cabrera can keep them going.
Yeah, I mean, you should basically, that's your season a minute for Detroit Tigers world.
It is, as of late, yes, which is such a shame. They were never able to capitalize, the 06 run, the 2012 run. They went out and spent so much money. The Tigers had literally 4 to 5 aces. I mean, we had Verlander, we had Price, we had Scherzer, we had Porcello. Like that list, that was our starters for like 2 years, and we couldn't get it done because we didn't have a frickin' bullpen and no one to bat behind Cabrera.
But you're not. But who's bitter? I mean, who's holding?
Nobody is bitter at all about that situation. Like, not at all bitter.
No, you're not. You don't wake up in a cold sweat.
No. I don't think about the 2 World Series sweeps at all. Nothing. Nope, not at all.
You should really seek some counseling. I'm just saying.
Oh, that is funny. All right, well, so you're an Indiana guy. Like, who do you have a baseball team?
I'm a New York Yankees fan.
Fair enough. Cool.
1986, not only did I get my first Major League Baseball autograph, which was Don Mattingly, but I also got to go to a Yankees game at 1986.
That's
and
cool, man.
I was like, yeah, and I was basically 9, so that pretty much sealed the deal for me.
Yep. I get that completely. There is nothing wrong with that. That's really cool.
And as a Yankees fan, I get a lot of crap.
Oh, sure, absolutely. My supplemental football team, the Patriots, I got a lot of crap for that. So I can understand the shade that is thrown your way.
Now, I'd love to know how you became a Patriots fan. So that part, I mean, if it was pre-Brady, I'll give you pass. If it was during Brady, I may not be so kind.
Well, no. So I will 100% tell you, my first Michigan football game I went to, Tom Brady was quarterback. Like, it's middle school. My grandpa took me to the game, and it was like, all right, that was my first intro. And so then when I saw he got drafted to the Patriots, I'm like, okay. And literally high school, I started watching the Patriots my senior year when he started.
You are a baby.
I'm gonna be.
You officially. I'm gonna
be 38 in December. Like, I'm creeping up there.
Believe it or not, you're not that much. Then never mind. You're not that much. I'll be 43 this year.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not that.
I mean,
far
Aaron's
off.
older than both of us.
Yeah,
so he wins
so there.
There,
we go.
so.
There, he's the old man of the group. We'll see how deep into the show he listens if we get a text message about that comment there. Man, who would have thought? Like, we just took some left turns. Baseball, football.
Wouldn't it be right turns if we're going against the grain?
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, man, we got some Thursday night Cup racing, some Friday night trucks, and a doubleheader on Saturday too. How is the weather shaping up for Kansas, sir?
Overall, there's some heat. Temperatures 90s. The one concern may be, and I hate to say this, of course, the Cup race Thursday night. There's a slight chance of some scattered to isolated storms. I mean, it is Kansas after all,
right?
And then Friday, Saturday look dry and hot. So Thursday really seems to be the only day. I wouldn't necessarily be like, oh my goodness, we're not going to see racing, but a delay or two. Very small likelihood, but it's there. So I'm just going to at least mention it. Okay. I'm not even going to go to the point of what are our odds of racing. I think we're going to race. I just think we're going to have to just sit, I think overall we probably won't have any problems, but there's that small chance. So, if it does rain, don't go, well, you never said anything. Well, that's not true. We,
right.
I do find people just forget where they get weather information from. And then, so if their app says something, maybe it's another reason why we get upset about apps. So.
I tell you, if there could be like an app that you guys developed, I think that would be cool. And then charge a subscription fee to that, like a NASCAR weather
the problem is, I wouldn't want to charge anybody because, the problem is listen, apps have a place. And for the truth is, you can get a good guidance because apps are basically just grabbing some computer model someplace. Okay, whether it's proprietary to the company that put out the app, or they're using a model that you can find online, but more for a specific location.
Sure.
And so that's just model or computer generated stuff being sent out. Whereas when you at least get a forecast from Aaron and I for a particular race and a particular track on that particular day, we're looking at as many models as we possibly can. And then we're using our knowledge and our experience to come up with a forecast. And then we're also taking our experience as NASCAR fans and okay, that's where the odds of racing came up. Because first of all, I got tired of, what's the percentage chance of rain and people not equating that to what could happen in the race. Plus, sometimes a 70% chance of rain on a Sunday could mean most of the rain is going to fall in the morning and then be clear in the afternoon.
Well, and so I think last time we talked too, it was rain was in with 2 miles. That's like the bullseye circle there, it to miss, it was just, happenstance that that we got lucky or something like that.
Now with the lightning rule, it'd be a lot different circumstance. But I have watched, I think, I want to say there was a Martinsville race, or maybe it was a Talladega. I can't remember exactly which race, but I remember going through a race, and it felt like rain was at no more than a mile away throughout the entire day. 1 mile. At times maybe less, but it never came to the track. So because of that, it never rained. So we got the race in. But boy, was it close. Sure. You just think to yourself, there's times where, everywhere around it just took one range cell to just hit the track, or a lone rain cell that popped up over the track, but everything else around it was dry. So, it's just one of those things because you're dealing with such a small point. And that's most of what we do weather-wise is not point specific. It's more of an area.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's definitely broad based, but with standard deviation rule. Where are you falling? Are you plus within the 0.66? Or?
Yeah. And plus think about it. How many times, especially Daytona or someplace where we can say, well, it's dry on the front stretch, but it's, raining in turn 2,
right. Yeah. Pocono. It's raining in turn 1 at Pocono.
or Indy. Indy's a good example of that. Yeah. Indy's. So, and I saw that the news came down. Not sure. I know when this will air, but
20 minutes.
And originally the 500 in what?
In about 20 minutes.
20 minutes. So the 500 was going to do 50% capacity, but now they've lowered it down to 25.
Yes. Yeah. How has that impacted things? Are you still able to attend?
As far as I know, yes.
Excellent.
I will find out. I will check with my mother, who is giving me the tickets, and find out if she's gotten any correspondence from them about the tickets that I'm supposed to get. I've already got everything lined up, and I'm off that. I'll wear a mask in August in Indy. I'll be more than happy to.
Absolutely. It's
I need a checkered flag one.
Oh, that would be, yeah. I mean, they're out there for sure. Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those I remember when moments because it's not on Memorial Day. It's going to be under unique circumstances, and you can say, hey, I was at the, fill in the blank, from a
I can also say I was
sports perspective.
I think it was 90. No, it would have been 97 when they raced on a Tuesday. I went to that one too.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Very cool.
I was,
Very cool.
And I took a physics exam and then went to the race.
That's fantastic.
I was taking summer classes at IUPUI. For those of you not sure, that's Indiana University, Purdue University of Indianapolis. That's why they call it IUPUI.
That's great. Well, I think Austin Cindric, who was on a little while ago, I meant to ask him about this. I think I saw something on like a bio sheet or whatever that the day he graduated high school, he went and raced in a truck race that night or something like that. So that's pretty cool, man. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and it was one of those situations where, because it was a Tuesday. So at this point, people were back at work. They basically made the race free for anybody who wanted to go.
Sure.
But if you had tickets, you were guaranteed your seat.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I just asked. I mean, this is friendship, and I'm still friends with him. He was the best man at my wedding. I asked my friend to go with me, Chris, and he actually sat outside the room so I could take my exam, and then we went. I think we spent more money for parking than we did for the actual going to the race.
It's great. When you said that, like letting anybody in, basically, I'll never forget. My buddies and I, we took our Lions season tickets, and if you had a Lions ticket to the game before, when the dome collapsed in Minneapolis and they played a Monday night game at Ford Field, it was the Giants versus Minnesota, just because that was the closest available venue. So if they just wanted people in the stadium, it wasn't televised or anything. So that was just like, hey, who wants to come? Come on in and check it out. That was a couple years ago. I'm trying to think. That was probably like, oh, man, that might even be 7-8 years ago now that I think about it. But, yeah, that was cool. That's awesome, man. Well, anything else you want to throw into here?
No, overall, things are pretty good.
Excellent.
Hopefully everybody's doing well. I mean, let's just keep what I guess I could say is just stay healthy, do what you got to do to help you and your neighbors. And I'd say love one another, because that seems to be lacking to a lot of people. So just do that.
Fair
enough. Get through that, we can be in good shape. But as always, a pleasure. Thank you for not bringing up fantasy. And
you're welcome. You're welcome.
So
we'll let this just be the rookie year for you, and keep plugging along. I expect closer competition next year.
Yeah, well, I'm going to blame you for this week, because granted, it's my fault. I waited to the last minute because of my weird work schedule. So when I went to go pick picks, none of the drivers that we could or could not pick were in red. And I'm like, crap, who can I pick and who can't I pick?
Yeah, you know what? So, because I got a bunch of emails about, do the picks count? So I wanted to let everybody know that they didn't count, but then I didn't realize the quick turnaround time. I totally get where that messed some things up there, but it's all updated. And don't forget, you got to get them in by tomorrow night. So for the Thursday Cup race, so
get them in by Wednesday, and don't be like me and trying to keep pulling your local. I don't know how many times I've sent you a message and like, I'm on your show. Do you know who I am?
He's trying to get a little pull.
No, just allowing my picks to get in. Yep. So it's always before the race. I've never sent you a pick after the race.
That is a true story. Yes, no, that is 100% true. No, story.
If you would let me do that, that would be great. Right.
That all just shows how truthful the picks are, because you're
exactly.
Oh, absolutely love it. Yes, this was fun. We covered it all, from baseball, football to NASCAR weather. Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_.
So I'm going to ask you real quick.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And by the way, the WX, and I want to bring this up because I always get some weird tweets. WX means weather. I know I've explained this a couple times on the show, but for those who don't know, the WX is weather. So it's NASCAR Weatherman in abbreviated form. Because back in the day, when we were limited on the Twitter thing, we didn't want, you didn't want a long name because that was like half your characters.
Right, that was your character. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. You were going to say, you wanted to ask me
No,
something.
so about as far as, do you think we're going to get Big Ten football?
Man, I tell you what, I am literally 50-50. I could argue that, I think they're going to, but just based on, the uptick cases in the Midwest and Michigan alone, man, maybe delayed start, I don't see how they're going to pull it off in terms of there's no way to social distance. Like, what are you going to do? Make every, player that's on offense or, second string stand 6 feet apart? Are you going to have a bajillion X's like, stand here kind of thing? The testing seems like it would be extreme. I hope so. Man, I want to see football. But
I don't think if they've been playing and touching, through drills and stuff like that, you obviously can't social distance. I mean, how do you practice?
But then you're on campus, the dorm, there's so many things, and that stretches over to the NFL too. Like, I just don't know unless how are they going to be able to test and keep, I don't know. It's without secluding everybody and quarantining them into like, a massive, gymnasium. Like, hey, all right, you guys are staying here for the next 12 weeks, which would just be brutal. Like, I don't know. I hope so. I hope they can figure it out. But what do you think? Are they going to play?
I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know. I'm honestly. I mean, I'm even though I'm going to the 500, I'm like 70% sure I'm going.
I mean, the fact it's outside, spaced out, hey, I'm really curious to talk to you the week after and hear how getting in was. Because I don't think it's the issue once you're in, but it's, all right, how do they control the lineup that's going to happen outside? And I think that's one of the bigger issues, too.
Listen, I think if you're only getting, first of all, if anybody's ever seen that place, it's massive. I mean, it's going to look like with 25% of the people there, it's going to look like there's nobody there.
Yeah. It's going to look like a NASCAR race.
It's going to look like
Sorry.
I wasn't going. Actually, I think it's going to look more like a brickyard. But
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But it's massive, and because of how massive it is, and only a quarter of the people, I think that's easy to do to get people in and out. In fact, people are going to be like, I may park at some place. I may park and pay $50 to park just to help some poor person who like pays their mortgage based on parking.
Sure. Well, yeah, that's a big thing. It's college campuses too. You think of all those people that have the investment properties and rental properties out in college towns, and they bank money off being able to charge for parking on college game day. There's so many things that just kind of have been fallen under the radar as terms of where people have banked on money coming in to get by and stuff. It's absolutely crazy. And man, just want to get back to normal. I'm gonna go to a race, damn it.
I do too. I haven't been to a race in a long time. Well, thank you so much as always for having me on.
Yes, great to talk to you. Everybody, make sure you go follow Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN along with Aaron Studwell. Sir, great to catch up with you. This was a lot of fun, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks, man.
Sounds good.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, great to catch up with Brian Studwell there. It's time to keep things rolling. It is time for this week's Lucky Dog Lap Down segment. You guys know the drill. Tweet your Lucky Dog Lap Down picks, or you can call the Wave Around hotline, 248-965-9538 after race weekend. Send me your Lucky Dog Lap Down picks. All right, my Lucky Dog picks going to RCR for sure. 1-2 finish. Come on. My lap down. My fantasy picks did not do so well this week. We'll see if I was able to hold on to the lead or not here in just a little bit. All right, it is time to get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner, All-Star Lucky Dog, the $1 million pick, Chase Elliott and his 15 bonus points in Lap Traffic Fantasy. Nice job there, sir. Lap down are the 19 other drivers. Scott's Truck Edition Lucky Dog, Kyle Busch, if he passes inspection. He did. Good job, Kyle. Lap down, Johnny Sauter. And Scott's Cup edition is a tie for Dylan and Reddick. And RCR out of nowhere. Semi-lucky dog goes to Hamlin. 2 spins and no damage. And Scott's a lap down for the Cup. Martin Truex Jr. wasn't for bad luck. He'd have no luck. Absolutely love it. CJ at CJ LaPearl's Lucky Dog. RCR with a 1-2 finish. Track position was key. Lap down is the 48. Seems like every week he's got a great car and something happens. Really hoping he gets a win this year. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fans. Lucky Dog. RCR going 1-2 and also to Team Penske. Didn't get the win Sunday, but the 12 dominated, and they won almost everything else this weekend in motorsports. Lap down the 48. Fast cars, but bad luck equals the cut line. Yes, it does. Got to get it together. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragons. Lucky Dog. RCR with the 1-2 finish. Lap down 48. Wins this one yet again, the lap down vote for Rowdy. Great car with not so good finish to show for it. Eddie at Eddie _EG3's Lucky Dog. RCR, no doubt. Dylan goes to the playoff. Reddick finishes second. Lap down, Blaney getting caught a lap down with the crucial caution of the race. Had the car to beat. Should have 4 or 5 wins. That's a great point, Eddie. Blaney really could be dominating this thing if luck went his way a little bit. Eric Souter, Lucky Dog All-Star. Loves the look of the new cars and Chase Elliott winning. Lap down All-Star race was too short. No need for stages. Eric's Lucky Dog for Texas is another new winner in Austin Dillon. And finally, a weather delay free race. Yes, didn't even get to talk about that with Brian Neudorff there. Eric's lap down, 48 pit crew mistakes, and Kyle Busch for not getting the sweep. Brandon at Brandon K. Carl's Lucky Dog All-Star edition is Chase. He won the All-Star race lap down. Goes well to the All-Star race. The number placement looks UGLY, ugly. And that was probably one of the more uneventful All-Star races ever. Yeah, and who would have thought at Bristol we'd get an uneventful All-Star race with, you know, these short stages and all that stuff there. I was with you there. Brandon's Cup Lucky Dog, and this is a bit of a rant, goes to Tommy Joe. He's had a rough year, but brought it home P15. Lap down goes to the rest of the weekend. I'll be honest with you, not really a fan of the drivers who won this weekend. Nothing wrong with that, sir. Kevin at the Hauntus Truth Lucky Dog RCR. Austin won, but it seems like the addition of Reddick has elevated that team. I'm with you. Lap down is myself for calling in 2 weeks ago saying there's no parity in NASCAR. Hey, man, that's all right. I've eaten plenty of crow on the show. Bradley at Bradley Carnes Lucky Dog is the fans that got to be at the racetrack and actually see a decent race. Lap down is for the clown Quinn Hoff. How in the hell has NASCAR allowed him to have a spot on the track? He is clueless every week. Well, it looks like NASCAR and Quinn are going to have a little talk there, sir. So curious to see what comes out of that. Brett at B Wayne 8589's Lucky Dog RCR, without a doubt, we're in the right place, right time, and battled to stay there, holding off some very good cars. Lap down Hamlin was top 5 all day, only to cause 2 cautions at the end. And Jeff at JBev1789, a Lucky Dog, like everyone, have to go with RCR on the 1-2 finish and Dylan for the win. Lap down goes to Bowman. I think that's just the frustration as a fan lost all the speed they started the year with when they had it and now can't finish. All right. Man, you guys came strong this week with the picks there. Let's get to your calls on the Wave Around Hotline.
Traffic Nation, voice of the Wave Around Hotline, the 20% at Racing Cans calling in from the All-Star race. I will start this by saying I had the All-Star race on a display, and I was actually recording it, so I was behind. And I shut off my NASCAR app just so I don't get any push notifications. But I forgot to turn off the Score mobile app that I also use for other sports, and that eventually spoiled it for me halfway through the All-Star race. That mo-effing siren went off. So I can't complain about that. In terms of the actual race, and then once I found out Chase, I'm like, all right, let's open Twitter and see what people thought. And people were disappointed. Now, I didn't really see a whole lot of, great racing, so to speak, in the first couple stages, but the race met my expectations, and not to be the Debbie Downer, but I didn't have high expectations. Anytime I watch an All-Star event, whether it's, the MLB All-Star Game, the NASCAR All-Star race, I don't have high expectations. All-Star races just don't do it for me. If NASCAR said no more All-Star race, I'd be like, all right, that's cool, man. I really don't care for it. So it's good that they were trying things like the underglow. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish there. I wasn't a fan of that. Number placement, didn't care. I was more focused on the cars on track. I really don't. I thought I'd care more, but honestly, I don't. Choose cone, flat down. Fox Sports 1. Why aren't you guys showing the choose cone? I want to see where the cars go and whatnot. That was very disappointing. I didn't get. I wanted them to make a bigger deal out of it. It's almost like they kind of just blew it off, and I was disappointed in Fox's coverage. So it's kind of difficult to bring the choose cone, even though I know it's going to work. And then my lucky dog is going to be my diecast collection, which now is just I got the sponsor on the door. Diecast will be pre-ordered at some point today. First diecast from the old number 9 car. See ya in Texas. Expectations probably lower for that race.
Oh, Mr. Andrew Cancian, who's going to be taking over basically the last, you know what? Let's call it the 20% of this show. He's going to start things off the Waiver On Hotline. He's going to wrap things up, and he was the week high in Lap Traffic Fantasy. So have him on here in just a minute. I really hope he appreciates that pun because I literally pulled it out of my rear end there. But I want to highlight one thing that he said there, and that was the choose cone. I tell you what, I forgot they were even doing that because of how little coverage they got, which makes me wonder if that was, you know, the powers that be saying don't mention that. I don't get conspiracy theorists too often, but I really wonder there because how would you not bring that up? I don't understand that there. So we'll see what happens with that down the road. Let's get to the next call on the Wave Around Hotline.
Hi, Brandon. It's Matt at Camper News Net. Absolutely with the Cup Series race this weekend at Texas was absolutely, especially at the end, I saw with all those cautions coming at once was absolutely incredible racing, towards the end today. I absolutely loved it. It was absolutely great to see. It was just great to watch. So get on with it. My lucky dog this week is absolutely going to go to Richard Childress Racing with the 1-2 finish. Of course, Austin Dillon finishing first, and then of course second place. For the Richard Childress Racing and Tyler Reddick was absolutely incredible. The first time since 2011 that we had a 1-2 finish for Richard Childress Racing. It was absolutely incredible. And I think Tyler Reddick, he's close. I honestly think he's very close to, being potentially a first-time winner in the Cup Series. And I think, honestly, we could see it this year. But we'll see. And my lap down is going to go to that wreck, in the third stage. That was just, Texas. I don't remember if I've ever seen a, big wreck like that at Texas occur. And, a lot of good cars were involved in that, including Kyle Busch, which, was very unfortunate, but some of them were able to continue nonetheless. And, hopefully we'll have great racing at Kansas this upcoming weekend. So anyway, enjoy your week as always, Brandon, Lap Traffic Nation, and I'll talk to you next weekend after Kansas. So thank you so much, Brandon. Take care. Bye.
Oh, Matt, thanks for calling in as always. And, who would have thought we would have had the big one at Texas? Definitely unusual for sure. All right, let's get Miss Kathleen on the line.
Hey, Brandon, it's Kathleen at KHI Fan. I think that it's great that we've had 2 surprise winners in Cup. It's going to be very interesting to see who might get left off when we head into the playoffs. Because of that, though, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference once we get into the playoffs. it seems we'll need more surprise winners in order to really shake things up there, and I don't see that happening. Once we get deep into the playoffs, it'll still be some combination of the usual suspects at the end. So I don't really know that there's much that we can do about that. And Austin Dillon, if you're listening, I would back it down with the pretty good for a Silver Spoon Kid comment. 3 wins in, I think it's 240-something starts isn't exactly setting the world on fire, but I am tickled that Kevin Harvick has been living rent-free in your head all these years. My lucky dog this week is going to go to our own Aaron Studwell and XO Consulting, who rode with Go Fast and Corey LaJoy at Texas and came home with a nice P16 finish. So congrats on that. My lap down has to go to the 00. It's beyond ridiculous at this point. Yeah, Quinn House came with a big check, but after paying Landon Castle off so that, to comply with their contract, and then repairing all these race cars week after week after week after week, are they really coming out ahead? I just think it's a huge mistake, and it seems like they've got to ride it out the rest of the year, which is unfortunate. Anywho, that's all I've got for now. I will talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, Kathleen bringing a heat this week. Absolutely love it. Man, I love it. Kevin Harvick living rent-free in Austin Dillon's head. Absolutely fantastic. And I do want to comment on the first thing you were talking about there about, we've got some unexpected winners and, all right, that's great. That's going to shake who gets into the playoffs potentially. But when it's all said and done, it's really not going to impact the final result. And you couldn't be more right there. And again, that just goes back to the thing I have ranted on for years, that too many people make the playoffs in the Cup Series and even the Xfinity Series. The truck was perfect, and they had to go ruin that and expand it to 10, but I digress. All right, let's wrap up this week's Lucky Dog segment with Mr. Andrew Cancian once again.
What's going on, Traffic Nation? The voice of the waiver on hotline, the 20% at Racing Cans, calling in from Texas. Well, we saw a race, that's for sure. If you didn't watch the race and all of a sudden found out that Austin Dillon won the race, you're probably thinking, how in the hell did Austin Dillon win that race? And you and I both got a text from Matt from someone who didn't watch. If there's one good thing that's happened in the 2020 NASCAR season, it's the parity level is probably one of the highest I've ever seen it. It's making for a pretty fun year in that regard. It's kind of the only really thing that's keeping me engaged with NASCAR right now. I mean, I genuinely believe the race has been awful. I didn't think we saw a good race yesterday. I thought it was actually awful. We had a horrible stretch of tracks coming up that we just finished with. And, we go to Kansas now, which actually is one of my more favorite mile and a halves. So I do think we're going to see a good race in Kansas. We typically do. But yeah, I mean, Cole Custer and Austin Dillon, and then, even 2 weeks ago we were saying how good Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin were, and they really weren't factors all day today or last week in Kentucky. So the parity level is going to be my guaranteed lucky dog, because it's kind of what's saving the season for me, because once baseball starts, it's going to be even harder for me to watch NASCAR at this point, unless the racing gets better, which I don't foresee it at the 550 tracks. My lap down, Quinn Huff, whatever your name is, what the hell was that? I mean, I thought we were going to see kind of a fun finish with the strategy that I would have enjoyed. That probably would have saved the race for me, but then we just got a typical Charlie Foxtrot finish with crashes and cautions, and it's just like, really? I don't know what that guy's doing. I don't think that guy belongs on the racetrack. People complain about him every week, and I think if you look at Brad Keselowski's quote on kind of an approval system and how NASCAR does that, I think that might be something they'll want to look at, because that was an inexcusable mistake by probably, it might not be fully his fault. I'm sure the spotter had something to do with that, but that's bad, and I feel bad for Landon Castle because he should be in that ride, but whatever. Have a good week, bud, and I will talk to you soon.
Oh, Mr. Andrew Cantian, and how soon that will be, because you're going to be on here in just a minute for some lap traffic fantasy. But I got to pull out the parody comment there, because I think it's so awesome that, Kevin at The Haunt is Truth a couple weeks ago, pointed out, that he didn't like that there wasn't any parody. He pulls that, he retracts that, if you will, and you give your lucky dog to parody at NASCAR. I will say that has been interesting. It's been one of the more unique seasons, like you said there, for sure. Man, what a fun lucky dog and lap down segment this was. It is time to close this thing out. 90 minutes in, got some fantasy. Bear with me here. I knew it was going to be a little long, but this show was stacked, man. I hope you all have enjoyed it so far. Let's wrap it up with a little lap traffic fantasy. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you get your picks in by midnight tomorrow, Wednesday night. Keep the Twitter interaction up for sure. Segment 2, only 8 Cup races to go over the span of the next 6 weeks to decide who makes the Lap Traffic Fantasy playoffs. Man, I tell you, a lot of players, myself included, got burned with Austin Hill this week. Something tells me I might be rolling with him, though. Again, we'll see here. Weekly high was Mr. Andrew Canton with 146 points with his picks of Blaney, Briscoe, and Moffitt. Kim James was right behind in second for the week with 142 with Logano, Cindric, and Rhodes. My picks of Hill, Briscoe, and Almirola got me 85. Was it enough to stay in first? Barely. The top 10 for segment 2, myself, still in first place. I'm still flabbergasted by that with 516 points. John King has moved up to second with 512. Joel Nolf in third with 507. Kim James in fourth with 501. Stephanie in fifth with 497. Mr. Andrew Cansian has moved up to sixth with 492. Jess Rose in seventh with 491. Matt Crowd in eighth with 490. Brad Carnes in ninth with 488. And Aaron Studwell wraps out the top 10 in segment 2 with 486. Man, it is a real close 30 points or so between first and 10th there, so anything still could happen in segment 2. Over to the cumulative standings, Jess Rose still hanging on to first, Joe Hewson in second, Richard Cravens in third, Andrew Cansian in fourth, Kent Dolphy in fifth, Chad Robbins sixth, Matt Camper in seventh, Matt Crowd in eighth, David James in ninth, Toby Christie in 10th, Mick Rose in 11th, Stephanie Burgess in 12th, Joe Nolf in 13th, Aaron Studwell in 14th, I'm in 15th, I've dropped, and Greg Whited has moved up to the last spot at the moment in 16th. Man, things are heating up in Lap Traffic Fantasy. Keep everything coming at me strong with your picks and your tweets, all that good stuff. All right, let's get this week's guest picker on the line. It's Mr. Andrew Cansian. I hope you're not sick of him yet. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. I'm really excited about this one. You just heard him on the Lucky Dog segment. You know who he is. He is the voice of the Wave Around Hotline and new graduate and recent law enforcement officer. I'm honored to say that. Mr. Andrew Cantian. Sir, good evening. Welcome to the show. How are you, man?
That's a lot to live up to in an intro. I hope my picks for this week, live up to that.
Ooh, well, I tell you what, I narrowly made it out of this past weekend with a first place still, and I'm stunned because I had Austin Hill who got me 7 points. So I mean the margin is narrowing, and I dropped a few in the cumulative, but yeah, still hanging on to that first place.
Well, you are still over that magical number 16 as this guy named B. Wayne or something. I keep calling him.
B.
I'm like, yeah, you might know the schmuck that's calling in to give picks tonight. He's like, yeah, I'm free falling.
I'm telling you, it's weird. Like Greg Whited's just in 16th. Kathleen McDonald normally does well. B. Wayne normally does well, and I'm normally shitting the bed. And here I am leading for multiple weeks. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd ever say that. And I'm currently in for the playoffs. Like, it is, it's a weird year. If COVID didn't suggest it, the fact that I'm doing well in Lap Traffic Fantasy. should be the omen for you.
That's probably the number one most bizarre thing that's happened in 2020 through all the nonsense. You leading your own fantasy league is probably number one at this point.
I would agree 100. I know Mick Rose would agree. The MOATF podcast would agree. I don't know where the hell they've been at lately. We'll see if they listen still because, they haven't been around much. They're down there at the bottom. So yeah, good times.
Typically, when you call their name, it's the Twitter chatter. Easy for you to say, is alive and well.
Yes, and we'll see what happens with that. Listen, man, how did I do interpreting your wave around hotline read back last week since there was no hotline?
Better than Quinn Hoff entering pit road.
That's fantastic. I absolutely love that. That's great.
Low-hanging fruit.
Let's see here. It's been a minute since we've chatted. You actually have something. You've got a one-up on Sherwin and I in that you've actually, while not seeing a full race, you've seen about 20 laps of a Cup race, I believe, this year, which you're in the minority to be able to say that.
Yes. I don't think many fans can say that.
No.
And I was pretty bummed out when I left Daytona. I'm like, damn, that sucks because I can't go back tomorrow.
Looking pretty good right now, though.
It mattered. Yeah, hopefully I'm hoping my schedule works out where I'll get to see one of these Daytona races coming up. I hope it's the road course.
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think that could be a lot of fun to watch.
How is it not? That's what after seeing a couple years of the Roval, after getting the Indy Xfinity Series at the road course there, I mean, how is this not going to be a good race? I don't understand. I don't see how it isn't.
And you have to think you'll get some crossover from all these IMSA fans. I mean, there's a lot of crossover, with the stock car fans that love to watch the Rolex 24. I mean, I love to watch the Rolex 24.
Absolutely, it's like it's the preview to the preview of the Clash. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's like just think of the drivers who have won that there. I mean, Juan Pablo and Dan Gurney and Fernando Alonso. All those guys have won at the road course, and now we're going to see the stars in NASCAR and Jimmy Johnson and Kevin Harvick and the Bushes and Chase Elliott and Blaine. All those guys running the Daytona Roval. Yeah, there I said it.
Yep.
It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes. No, it's got to be a good time. I'm hoping. I told Lindsay when the schedule came out and they made the announcement that the finale was going to be at Phoenix, obviously pre-COVID, I'm like, listen, I don't care if I only go to the Michigan races this year, but I'm going to Phoenix because, that's Kevin Harvick's bread and butter. Like, I got to go to Phoenix. So I'm still hoping, maybe some miracle happens in a couple months that opens up as a possibility. But obviously not going to Michigan. But I'm still not ready to write off the fact that I won't be at a race this year. It's, I'm sure, keeping the faith.
I'm sure something will come up. I mean, don't forget, I'm fair. I don't want to say this 100%, but I'm fairly confident I did see Phoenix has also, re-signed, so to speak, to be the finale for next year as well.
Excellent.
Well, so I believe we have about 4 or 5 dates set for next year, and it's all obviously the Daytona 500, the Phoenix races, and then the Dover and Nashville switch. So that's kind of what we're looking at for next year. So hopefully it's kind of this season's kind of we were really looking forward to the schedule when it kind of got nuked. So it is what it is.
Yes, I'm with you. I wonder if the NASCAR schedule could eventually, it's not like it's something that I really buy in and set time aside for, but I definitely pay attention when the NFL schedule comes out because they normally do it, a couple weeks on a Thursday before the draft or after the draft, and it's like, all right, who's everyone going to be playing? What's the Sunday night schedule? What's the Monday night schedule? I wonder if NASCAR could get to a point to where it's not so bread and butter repeat every year, that down the road that could be like an excitement thing. What's the NASCAR schedule going to be like? Because we know it's going to change.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I actually think they have done a good job of that the past couple of years. I mean, this 2020 schedule, when it came out, I don't think anyone was upset with the changes.
Nope, not
for the most part. I mean, there were obviously, tracks, some tracks won and some lost, obviously, and you're going to have that. But I mean, Richmond, Bristol, and Martinsville and the Roval in the playoffs. What more can you ask for? Right? It was awesome changes they made. Unfortunately, it just didn't really work out.
I know.
Way outside of their control.
Yep. Well, sir, what do you say? You ready to make some picks for this weekend?
I am ready.
All right, Lap Traffic Fantasy players, we are headed to Kansas for a little Thursday night cup action and a truck doubleheader. What more could we ask for? What do the trends say? Well, the trends say over the last 5 races at Kansas, there is only one driver who has finished in the top 5 4 times, and that is Chase Elliott. And oh, by the way, he's got to win. Chase Elliott looks to be a solid pick this weekend. Denny Hamlin has 3 top 5s in the last 5 trips to Kansas, and so does Martin Truex Jr. with a win. Granted, that was with a different team, but it's still Martin Truex at 1.5 miles. And since we're racing a truck doubleheader, Truck's last visit to Kansas saw the Watermelon Man smash some melons. Who takes home the checkered flag? Can I hold on to my lead? Does Kansian take over fantasy next week as well? We'll have to wait and see. First, it's time for our picks. Sir, over to you for the Truck Series. Who do you got?
I'm going off the grid a little bit. I'm going to go Ben Rhodes in race 1 and Todd Gilliland in race 2.
Wow. All right. So here's the thing. So I am going with Austin Hill to rebound from the horrific weekend he had this past weekend for race 1. And I've got Ben Rhodes for race number 2. So I like that. I like that. All right. Your Xfinity Series pick, sir. Who do you got?
He got his first career win there in the fall there last year. Brandon Jones.
Brandon, nice pick there. I like that. I am also I'm going for the rebounds here. I'm going with Chase Briscoe to not rebound because he didn't have a horrible day, but he didn't have his best points day this past weekend. And we'll wrap it up here, but it's actually the first race of the weekend, the Cup on Thursday night, which I absolutely love. Who do you got?
He drives a Chevy. He drives for Rick Hendrick. It's not Chase Elliott. Alex Bowman.
Ooh, very nice. All right. You know, he came on so strong to start the year, and he has just like not been able to finish. Like, he's not even the bridesmaid, because it's not like he's getting second and third places. He's like fast early, and then he's finishing 15th. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna play what the trends say. I don't do it too often, so I'm going with Chase from the same place for the win and some points on Sunday.
My wallet says no, but Lionel says yes if that were to happen.
Well, speaking of which, did you order your light-based die-cast race win?
Not yet, but it is coming.
Absolutely love it. All right, man. It was great to catch up with you. So good to talk to you. Stay safe out there. Stay healthy. And I hope we get to do this again very soon.
Thanks, Brandon. Thank you so much. And I hope, I hope we can do it soon, too. I want to win.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk to you later, brother.
Take care, bud.
See ya. Oh, that was a lot of fun, Mr. Andrew Kansian. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 192 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Oh, man, this one was so much fun. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Like on Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast. Follow on Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. Huge thanks to all of the guests tonight. Jim Wise with FireKeepers, Brian Rich with Consumers, Rick Brenner with MIS, along with Brian Neudorff, Austin Cindric, and of course, Mr. Andrew Kansian for calling in. Next week, I teased it at the start. I'm talking diecast with Brent from Plan B Sales. Can't wait for that one. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!